Thank you for tuning in to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Incorporated. Today, I'm at the Calgary Gong Fu Academy with Mr. Kevin Goat. Mr. Kevin Goat is a brown belt under Sensei Alex Roque. Let me tell you, he's actually a black belt in disguise. Today's a treat. What do you have in store today?
As you guys know, if you follow me at Self-Defense Goat or Self-Defense with Kevin Goat on many of the different platforms, my big thing is self-defense. Obviously, I love jiu-jitsu. I love training in the jiu-jitsu gi because I live in Canada. We're wearing clothes all the time, right? So a lot of the times I want to be able to train with that. So as much as I do love my no gi and I train it, I'm training Brazilian jiu-jitsu with the gi predominantly because what I'm trying to do is be able to use the gi to help me get to more advantageous situations when I'm actually doing my jiu-jitsu. Today we're going to be focusing on our closed guard curriculum in the Calgary Gong Fu Academy in my adult program, dealing with punches from the closed guard system. So let's just get into it. Okay, so whenever you're in closed guard, you're there for a reason because they're really good and they're going to start throwing some bombs. So if you can control the hands, obviously control the hands. Your goal is always to hip up, feet on hip, and be able to get away and get back up. But sometimes if they know what they're doing and they got good jits, they're going to have good heavy pressure. So if he starts providing forward pressure, right, I'm going to push that hip away. What I'm hoping for when I let go of his arm is that he actually throws the punch. This provides space and time. So when he throws the punch, I want to block it and when I want to pass it. I'm actually using Filipino martial arts there. It's called hubat. I'm going under. There's lots of different ways you can do this. He can punch. I can just use my hips and throw over, right? But I like to make sure that I'm guaranteed blocking something. So the whole idea is that my center line is now past his shoulder line. The goal to maintain this is to make sure that I can reach all the way over and get to that armpit. A lot of the issues that my students have is they're kind of grabbing high up on the gi, okay? If they don't have a gi on, you have to actually find the muscle in the lat. And I have long ass arms, so it's easier for me to do this. If you need to hip out a little bit to give you a super deep grip onto that, that's great. Here's how you test it with your partner. So Steve's gonna try and actually posture up and get out. Go ahead, pull your arm out. Pull the arm, yeah, and I'm just holding on to that. That's your goal. So when you guys are doing this, that's the realism, right? They got caught in a compromised position. He's going to try and pull it out. So as he goes to pull it out and I stay tight with him, now we have lots of different openings here. Option one is my arm goes underneath. Right now, my wrist is kind of at the crooks of his knee. It's not bad. I'm strong enough to be able to do that. I can grab the gi and grab the pant leg and hold on to that, and it will help assist in the sweep. If that doesn't work and your arm doesn't get to the inside, maybe you get to the outside. This is actually where I love finding that pant hook. Totally illegal in jiu-jitsu competitions, but I'm not doing jiu-jitsu, right? So I'm holding on to this tight. If he feels you fucking around with that, he kicks that leg out, you let go of the leg and you get hooked with your butterfly. So let's just say I have that pant leg. So I have the pant leg. Now what am I doing? My basic flower sweep or whatever you guys call it. I'm kicking over and rotating through. The big thing here is this elbow. This is the key for me that I teach all my students is as I'm going, I'm going to let go of that pant leg. I'm going to find his arm. I'm going to finish the sweep and I'm going to pin that down. This is okay for the MMA world of punching, but if they're bigger and stronger, have strength, they're going to be able to muscle you off. The whole idea of what I'm using my jiu-jitsu for is to get away, but I like to throw some damage in there first. So if I get good shoulder pressure and I have the gift wrap, I'm going to grab the gift wrap. I'm going to keep the knee on the ground. I can posture up with my other foot like a modified mount. I can throw elbows. I don't like punching here because this is all skull. This is really hard and that's going to possibly hurt my hand. I might switch to palm strikes or ear claps or something, but I'm a big elbow fan. So I'm dropping those elbows down. If you can't pop that knee up, it's okay. It actually gives you an easy exit out. When I'm exiting out, my left arm is controlling this to keep him facing away from me. This is what allows me to shoulder roll. I do more of an Aikido style shoulder roll. So I'm rolling on my shoulder, dropping down. The first thing I want to make sure I do is I turn my head to see where the attacker is. I turn my head, that drops my knee, that raises my knee. Now I can assess this situation and I can get away to safety. So that's option number one. All of that is going to be determined on the pressure that your student or your uke is providing you, right? So that idea again is he threw the punch, is I'm passing it over here. But sometimes that pass doesn't happen, right? Think when one door closes, the other door opens, huge jujitsu thing, right? So when he throws the punch this time, I'm gonna check block it. If you build in enough training, you will check block here and you'll also get your knee in at the same time. One might become before the other, they might come at the same time. I don't really give a shit. Don't get punched in the face. When you're grabbing this, think of a bicep slicer, grab the wrist or grab the gi. If you're wearing the gi, use the gi, right? And I'm trying to pull this into the shin. Look what it does to his body right away. It pushes him away. So as much as I'm holding him and squeezing him tight with my closed guard with my right leg, I want to also be pushing the hips up so it's providing me space. Now I'm going to push that back and allow my foot to get past. This is really hard for me because I'm 6'4" and have super long legs. If you're shorter, this should be a little bit easier. Everybody always rushes to the triangle though. And when they rush to the triangle, if you don't have good control of this arm, he's going to pass over and you're going to get stack pass. So compared to rushing there, because we're thinking about punching, once that leg goes over, think about that bicep slicer again, but with your hamstring. So as I'm kicking that hamstring, now I'm going to lock my feet in and just buy me a little bit of time and maybe punch him. I can hit him from here. Again, you know I like the elbows. I'm still controlling the other arm with the gi. He's going to be fighting and moving that arm away a lot, but when I start punching, his arm's going to want to come up and block. This is what sets up the next motion. So now it's time to go to that triangle. I'm a big fan of foot on the hip to control that first, but sometimes that leg goes over before. When you're bringing your leg over top, in my opinion, go down the spine first. A lot of my students have issues with triangles when they try and cut the angle too early. Establish your control by pulling down. Find the foot on the hip. Allow that to cut your angle. If you know for sure you can lock in that triangle, boom, lock it in, make them pass out, and then get away. But if you don't know if you can do that, while you're cutting the angle, I want you to think about your arm bar, and I want you to think about like kick-starting a motorcycle with your right leg. So I'm cutting the angle, I kick-start the motorcycle. I'm always training for the street though, right? Everybody here is super stoked. They're like, we can just arm bar and break and break. Not for me. Because what if he has a friend? If I go to break his arm right now and hold on and maybe his right arm gets in the fight and he starts resisting this is a whole nother world. So what do? Strike to the groin. Bang! That hopefully makes him let go of his arm. If he lets go, boom, I can hit again, I can hit again. But if I never let that arm get involved, I have an exit now. We did a front shoulder roll before, now we do our back shoulder roll. I back shoulder roll on my way out. Notice how I'm doing my back shoulder roll, left knee hit the ground. Right knee isn't going to go here. It's going to be harder for me to stand up that way. I'm going to bring my right leg through. That's going to put my foot on the ground. That's going to allow me to stand and get to safety. These are just a couple options that I'd like to use when teaching my students how to deal with punches from guard.
There you have it, folks. A different flair, something similar, but very effective on how to deal with punches in close guard, on the ground. Where can we find you online?
Check out the YouTube channel, Self Defense with Kevin Goat. My handle is at Self Defense Goat. Make sure to stay tuned in because we even got Sensei Steve in some of our new videos.
As always, we will look forward to seeing you on the mat soon.
Stay safe.